All right, everyone, welcome back to the Be Healthy and Thrive podcast. I have Anna Sabino here with me today, and we're here to talk about pretty much creatively walking in your career and your purpose to kind of kick us off on this Catalyze Your Purpose series on the podcast. And so I am so excited today to talk to really share with you, Anna, and just her book that's coming out. Well, it's out by the time this is airing, Your Creative Career. So she's going to talk to us all about that. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Brianna. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so could you maybe just share with us a little bit about yourself, kind of what you do, even what led you to start the book and your own journey in creative entrepreneurship?
Absolutely. So I used to be on Wall Street, and when I was coming to work at the same time and leaving at the same time, I just felt really I just felt really limited as far as what I was doing. It's as if there was a box, excuse me, around me. So I knew I had to have a way out because I wanted to be in charge of my time. And I didn't want anyone or anything to define me and my career. So I started working towards it. So a lot of people ask me, how did you do it? How did you quit your day job? How did you start your jewelry brand? Because that's when I started Lucid New York. And my answer is I did both. So just to feel secure and not to feel desperate, because that's the worst how you can show up in small business. I had my full-time job, and I started my creative hustle, as I say. And it wasn't easy. It's definitely not easy. But, it was, at the end, it was really worth it. Like, I sucked it up for about over a year. And then when I noticed that people were buying my things, they were asking for more, I was confident enough to quit Wall Street.
That's amazing. And I love how you said some really cool things about, one, you felt limited, and that's when you knew it was time to kind of just do something new, but also how you wanted to feel secure and not desperate, and you wanted that to show up even in, the work you did. So you decided to make it a creative hustle. So what did you do to make it a creative side hustle, or kind of what we were talking about, creative hobby, to making it a creative career?
Well, so I think what's important is to create systems in your creative hobby, because every time we set up, we start creating, making things, even get supplies. And if it's from a different place each time, we have to do research. So we have to invest in the setup. If we want to make it in a creative career world, I would say we have to systematize. We have to kind of repeat the steps and, of course, build on them. But it's important, some kind of automation, some kind of repetition. It's very important to implement that. So definitely create systems. And that's what I mentioned in my book, Your Creative Career. It's important to have a system in the business. It's Creative Insight number 5, I believe, in chapter 5. So it's important to have a system unless you want to continue having a creative hobby. And there's nothing wrong with having a creative hobby, but in my book, I really talk about making this transition and getting paid, having your passion, and getting paid for following your passion.
I love that. And I love that you said about there's nothing wrong with a creative hobby. Because I think sometimes people see entrepreneurs are like, I don't want to make that jump. That's not for me. I'm like, that's fine. You can do your creative hobby. So what about for you? What helped? What are the systems that you put in place for your particular business that helped you turn it into a creative career for yourself?
Yeah, so I started going to trade shows, and I had the same trade shows to go to. I had repeated customers, boutique owners, department stores, and I would have the same fulfillment system. So it was systematized. Also, a lot of my collections are made in New York, so I work with the same casters, and there are people who I hire who make my designs, who repeat. I give them a piece and I ask them to make 50 pieces of something. So these are the things that really, help me save time, save money, because if I purchase things from the same supplier, I get discounts. And I'm already used to the outcomes. Nothing like surprises me as much, although a lot of things surprise us in small businesses, that's for sure. But it's definitely helping, and I'm working on creating more systems, and so that there's like less of a surprise, I would say.
That's really great. And I noticed here when you were kind of writing up your bio, your story, you talked about even the personal growth and prioritizing that in your own personal development. Like, did you, that can be considered a system too, but how did you find that impacted your growth in your career, is prioritizing yourself? Like, what are some of the things that you did in your personal
Oh,
growth?
Brianna, this is like, it's been amazing for my business. It's I really believe in tacit inspiration and tacit learning. So by attending a workshop, taking a course, going to conferences, you never know how you're going to benefit from them. And just being open to all this knowledge that is around us, consuming books, consuming all the content that's out there. We are basically investing in our business without knowing it, because if we are trying to pinpoint what's gonna benefit us, when it's we are limiting ourselves. But by being open, by exposing ourselves to all the goodness that's out there, because there's so much that we can do, it can really benefit us creatively.
So what was one of the most impactful, whether it was books or conferences or workshops that you went to that really helped you grow?
Yeah, so when I got the idea to write a book, it was about 4 years ago. I didn't know where to start, like at all. I'm like, okay, what do I do? I actually started writing it on my phone. Like, I was like, I need to act on it. And I decided to go to a bunch of writers' conferences. And it is costly, definitely costly, but if you can afford it, if you are a writer, I highly recommend it. I went to the one in San Francisco, I went to the one in New York, and these events definitely sped up the process of me finding an agent and selling the book, Your Creative Career. Because during these events, there was an hour, like it was like a speed dating with agents. So they were all there in one room, 25 or 30 of them sitting at different tables, and you had to research what they were acquiring, what kind of authors they were signing, and then you would pitch them. So it was just no cold emailing without answers and waiting for answers. They were all there, and you were getting feedback right away. And also all the amazing workshops and meeting other authors and exchanging the creative paths. They were all, tips from the creative paths. This basically what made my career as a writer. It definitely efficiently, sped up the process. And I signed with John, with my agent, after pitching him in New York. It wasn't right away. I refined my concept, and when I was ready, when I had a 60-page proposal, and I told him that I had it, I was ready, then he was really interested. I actually had 2 agents that were interested in the concept, and the next day he's like, I'd be thrilled to represent you. And all this knowledge that I gathered through conferences, through these workshops, really paid off at the end, because he sold Your Creative Career to Career Press, and it was just launched in January. It's exciting.
So good. I love that you were even saying how, 4 years ago you had this idea and then now it's coming to life. And but you didn't just sit on the idea, you took some sort of action, whether it was writing it on your phone or learning. And I think I'm in that stage too, because I think ever since becoming an entrepreneur, I have so many ideas. It feels like before I felt limited too. Like I didn't think outside the box. And now I do. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta do this, gotta do this. I'm like, I almost created what I call an ideas garden. Like I'm just going to put it there and let it cultivate until the right time. And so I love that you were still acted upon it in some way by learning, by pitching, by trying, by networking. And so I think that's just really encouraging to people because I think often they have an idea, they want to accomplish a dream, they want to do something with their purpose, but they think it's not happening now. And so, oh, maybe it will never happen. Right? Like just that idea that it just takes intentionality and taking some action daily.
Yeah, and then what I recommend in these cases is take very, very tiny steps. You don't have to just drastically, transform everything around you around that idea, but what are the tiny steps that you can take to in that direction? Whether it's talking to somebody who's already executing your dream lifestyle, dream idea, or just doing some research, or even getting a planner, like a dream planner with goal setting in mind, and all that, and just journaling. So these tiny steps can really give you some clarity if this is something what you want, because very often we have a dream, but we realize that it's actually not our dream, that its execution is not really what we expected. So I definitely invite everyone to take a taste of our dream, of our ideas, and start small, with taking small steps. They will add up to a big one.
To a book. Yeah, it's funny because I've been thinking about a book too, but I like know it's not the right time. So it's like I love that you just pointing out, well, just learn, just try and cultivate that. So kind of say if someone is in the stage where they're like, okay, I have a creative side hustle, I have a creative hobby, but I want to make it a creative career. I know we talked about the systems, but was there one thing that really helped you kind of make that transition and to do it comfortably, to do it with ease? Like what was that for you?
Well, the most important step I think I took, and that was not a comfortable step to take, was to basically ask everyone, and that excludes family and friends, what they think about the products, if they would buy it, and ask them actually like boldly to buy it. So I'm embarrassed to admit that, and I don't think I even did in my book. I don't remember, but I would go to the post office and show my glass jewelry. I started with a glass jewelry line to the clerk, and I'm like, "Do you like them? Do you like the necklaces? Would you consider me paying with them?" I was like bartering, like this was like my money, And when I was noticing that they were like thrilled to take, my pieces as a payment, I would like, I sold, I remember 6 necklaces at a restaurant in Union Square, because I was like selling a few to my girlfriend, and then a waitress came, and then a couple next to our table came. So all these little, funny, adventures that I embarked on to test my products, really reassured me that I was able to do it full time. Also, I had a friend who was working at a really big New York magazine, and she invited me to their conference room and asked everybody, she was a managing editor, and asked everybody to come in because Anna is there with her jewelry. And they bought so many pieces. They were so excited. And it's not just about the compensation and money. That was a great sales day, but this proved me that I was onto something, that, people liked what I was making and they were willing to pay for it. The last part is extremely important. They are willing to pay for it because it's different. So many people tell you, "Oh, I love your pieces," because they don't want to hurt your feelings. But getting a true feedback, which you can get by, asking them to put the money behind what they are saying, is very important on the entrepreneurial path, I would say.
I love it. And I love actually, yeah, I love that you said it was uncomfortable because it is, right? And I love that you said boldly ask people to buy it because I think that's the thing with people who really care about what they do and they know that it would just bless other people. It's like, I would love to just give it to you. I would because it's just I'm just that type of person and all that, but actually asking them to buy it, breaking that relationship with money and seeing that you're giving value, so they're giving value and being bold enough to ask and barter it, So I think that's amazing. That I should try that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs like think, oh, it didn't take me much. It doesn't feel like work. I
Mm-hmm.
could give it to you. But then, my question is, how are you going to pay your bills with all these gifts? So, and then we have to remember that other people see tremendous value in what we're giving
Mm-hmm.
them. I mean, if they don't buy, jewelry pieces from me, they're gonna go and buy it in a department store or somewhere else. So why wouldn't they buy, things from me? And it's just important to realize that it's not, I have a whole chapter about pricing, and I love talking about pricing in your creative career. And pricing is not just based on your cost now. Like, you don't just double what you spend. It's also the years that took you to get where you are. And there's so many components, and it's such a delicate subject. But as Grant Cardone said in Sell or Be Sold, that he said that entrepreneurs, business owners, may be the only ones sometimes who worry about discounts and pricing. Our customers, like, often they really don't care. They don't mind spending a lot, and they don't mind paying full price.
I agree. I agree. And I've had to experience that myself in that it's just a matter of I had this friend ask me, he said, because he's also an entrepreneur, he said, would you pay for that at that price? Meaning, like, do you see the value in that? And I was like, I don't know. And I think we need to start seeing the value in what we're offering, because if you feel like, I don't know if I want to say that this necklace is $20, like they're going to sense that hesitation. And versus like boldly saying, hey, this is worth $20, actually worth more, but I'm selling it for $20. You know what I mean? And so I think we need to learn to be confident in our creation, in our creative works that we do. And you're right, people want to pay for it, because sometimes I'm like, here is this little thing. They're like, no, let me pay for it. And so just allowing people to give value in return as well. Such a great point. So then tell us a little bit also, before we get to your book, I know that you're kind of a life and business growth certified coach. So you do your jewelry on the side, then you also do a little coaching, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that jewelry is on the side.
Oh, okay.
It's again with the systems and having been in business for 14 years, I definitely have it in place that it's almost working on autopilot. And I definitely like turn up the volume of it during the Christmas season, as that's that's a huge
time.
A huge time for all the designers. And I'm in the gift business. My pieces are very, very gifty. So yeah. So what was the question?
Right. So coaching. Sorry.
Right.
You do some coaching as well.
That's right. So sorry. Yeah. This is what I really love about, being an entrepreneur. You can basically grow your business on your own terms. And you can define success however you want to define. You don't have to focus on growth. And that's exactly what I did. I kept it, I've been keeping it relatively small, comfortable, so that I have time to focus on other creative hustles, hobbies, or consecutive careers. And I got certified as a coactive coach. It means that I focus on the whole person in my coaching. And it's really fulfilling, and it blends well with, with the lifestyle, and also with what I want to do. I really love, sharing my lessons and my mistakes I made to save people time. It's really awesome to think that somebody can achieve success faster than me because they read about the mistakes I made, and they're going to avoid them.
Mm-hmm.
So coaching, gives me this outlet to, share what I've encountered, and also focusing on the whole person. It's so important to set yourself up if you want to start a business. It's, you may not be ready as far as your mind, your body, time in your life, etc. So having that confidence necessary, extremely necessary to start a business is very important, and that's what I explore with my clients as well.
So good. Yeah. So people can get support from you in multiple places. If they want some jewelry, if they want a book, if they want coaching. So that's awesome. Well, then, yeah, let's tell us a little bit about your book. Just what could people expect if they get a copy? What are kind of the main themes that you really want to get across, the main messages and stuff like that?
So the feedback I've been getting so far, and I'm truly blessed. I mean, it's all these amazing reviews. And they are not coming from friends. They're coming from people I've never heard of, and from all over the world. And it's just really, really amazing to read them. As a writer, I read them all and I spread the message about them. So thank you so much. If there's anybody watching who left the review for Your Creative Career, it's like the best thing that you could do for an author. But so I noticed a few things. And one thing was that this book, it's not even 200 pages, and it's so condensed. It's so packed with actionable advice. I mean, there's no fluff. You just read every single page, and every single page provides value. And what I also invite my readers to do is, you don't have to read the whole book. There are 12 chapters, and there are 12 creative insights. So you can download them for free on my website, annasabino.com, and the 12 creative insights come in on like a gorgeous, little PDF with all the beautiful colors. So read them, and they're based on the 12 chapters of the book, and then you can decide what areas are the most relevant to you. So there's, for example, an insight: wear your 2 large wings with confidence, you will grow into them. Or there is one about creating systems. And so, the feedback I've been getting was that it's like a course. Somebody said, it's like, I feel as if I was like taking a course about entrepreneurship on steroids. It's like full of actionable advice, And one of my favorite reviews was like, I had to put down this book and get to work. I couldn't wait any longer. It so just good. Still gives me shivers.
Yeah. And I think that's just so good. I love how you're saying it is a course in the sense when I like to read. I actually don't like reading a book really fast. I like to actually take it a chunk at a time and let it absorb. Like, how's that going to affect me? How am I going to change because of it? So it's almost like what you're saying is you're giving people permission to just go through it at their own pace. And you would rather them take action on that one chapter than read all 12 and be like, that was a great idea, And you do have support for that. You have a Facebook group, right? For those who, do you have a Facebook group for those who buy the book? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Your Creative Career Mastermind group, and it's very small. And we have the monthly check-ins. It's really wonderful because it's not just about the book, but it's a lot of stuff comes up in our sessions. So it's great because the chapters also have sub-chapters. And for example, if you were thinking about, I was just recently, my client is thinking about opening a store, but it's on the 2nd floor. So, she's toying with an idea, and there's a whole section about the joy of retail. So what's important in retail, what things we should pay attention to. And so by reading this, I think it's gonna give you a lot of clarity, and a lot of your questions will be answered. Same thing with wholesale. There's stuff about wholesale, and Your Creative Career is not just for product businesses. It's also for service businesses, and it's also for those who don't even want to start a business, but who are itching to make that next step, and they don't know what the next step is going to be. So it's very inspirational.
So everyone and anyone should read the book. That's the, that's really what it is, is that, because I think all of us within us, even if we're like, oh, I never want to be an entrepreneur, or I really love my job, that I currently do, we all have a creative nature to us, and we want to create. We're actually designed to create. So it's almost like this is kind of gives people the freedom to come back to that and say, regardless of where you're at and where you want to go, this is for you.
Right. It's like the applications. Yeah. So I would say, those who want to start a business one day, and also the artists who want to make their business more successful. These are the two main groups who I've been getting feedback from. Yeah.
Well, great. So kind of as we wrap up, is there any last thing, we'll talk about your giveaway in a second, but is there any last bit of encouragement you want to share with us, or tips around creative career?
Yeah. So when we were talking about, getting exposed to knowledge, classes, courses, I would like to invite everybody to go to annasabino.com, because I have a short course over there of how to thrive through writing on Medium, because that's how I built my audience. And it's extremely important to build your following and build your audience. So I think through writing, through posting content regularly, this is something that you can definitely achieve. So check out the website. There's the information about the book. There are also some free resources. And if you have any questions, just shoot me an email. I'm responding to every single email, and I'm thrilled to receive them.
Perfect. That is just a perfect bit of, if you're like, okay, I have this idea, I want to build following, go check that out. So maybe tell us a little bit about your giveaway. So you're giving away a copy of the book.
Yes, I'm giving away a signed copy of the book.
Signed copy.
Yeah, it's a hard copy, because it's so, I still love, holding the actual book.
Me too.
Instead of just, downloading them, etc. So if there are true bookworms and book lovers who want to hold your creative career, you could do it.
Yeah. So guys, make sure you check out the corresponding blog post that goes with this to get all the details about how you win. You can win that copy. And if you don't win, definitely still go buy it. That's what I'm going to say. After all of that, I don't know how you could not. So how can people, if they want to start following you on social media, where can they find you on social media?
So I am Lucid Anna on Instagram and Twitter. And if you go to annasabino.com, all the social links are there. And I am extremely generous if anybody wants to spread the word about the book. Any posts or pins or grams will be definitely shared, and I will return the love tenfold to you. Just use the hashtag Your Creative Career Book, because that's how I can find you. And pictures with the book, they make me so happy. I just saw this couple and they had 2 copies reading, and it just made my day for sure.
It's so exciting when you can see something that's impacted you and you take the time to present it, and then other people are being impacted by it. So good.
Yeah, and I would like to take this opportunity and to really thank Bookstagrammers and everybody who spreads the love for books, because I think I really don't want, there are fewer and fewer people who read, unfortunately. So I think it's very important. So thank you for all the pictures of books, of bookshelves, of styling all of, the shelves, of just connecting with other readers and authors and keeping the conversations going. I think it's very beautiful, and thank you so much for spreading the love for books.
Yes. Me too. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes, all the people who still read. I think my husband, he reads so much. I'm trying to get to his level, but I think he saw this statistic that about one person, after college, most people will tend to read one book, right? One, because if you don't like reading, if you don't like learning, then not like learning, but that format, it could feel I'm done with that. But I personally, in this last year, one of the things that's made me grow the most as a person and entrepreneur is reading, and just really seeing I have the choice to read what I want now, right? Before we had to read like on mathematics and all that stuff, and stuff like, you know, your genre that you're writing in has changed the way that I viewed my life, the way I run my business, the way I help my clients. And so thank you for writing the book. Thank you for, because it's not an easy task, you know, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So everyone must grab a copy. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing everything that you did with us. I know so many people are going to be blessed by this podcast.
Thank you, Brianna, for having me.
You're welcome.
It was a pleasure.
You're welcome. And everyone, be sure to check the corresponding blog posts for all the links that Anna mentioned, all her social media, the way how you can win the book, as well as how you can get access to that course. So thank you, everybody.